There's a college professor. He teaches at the University of Maryland. His name is Michael Nance. He is a self-avowed socialist, and he was caught, not really caught, but Karlin Borisenko, we had her on the show a week and a half ago. She was the one who went undercover at that socialist conference and caught all of those socialists on undercover cameras. Karlin Borisenko published on her Substack, you can go to it, I highly recommend it, it's karlin.substack.com. She published video of him, or audio of him, talking about how socialists need to overthrow the United States using, quote, extra legal means. And this phrase, extra legal, is particularly important. So listen to exactly what he says, because this is exactly what the left is trying to do.
The little-known German philosopher Johann Benjamin Erhard, writing in the 1790s at the peak of the excitement and horror of the French Revolution, developed a philosophical theory of revolution aimed at helping us think carefully about its promise and peril. Erhard argues that the right to revolution exists, but only under conditions of what we might call structural injustice. Erhard proposes that we think of a society's political structure as founded on a set of what he calls basic laws, which are formal or informal norms that ground the state's constitutional system. The U.S. Bill of Rights might be one example. He argues that revolution is permitted when and only when society's basic laws systematically violate the rights of humanity. In such cases, injustice has penetrated all the way to the foundation of the entire political structure. Reform becomes impossible, since there are no legitimate legal norms to appeal to criticize the basic laws. Under such conditions, the risky project of revolution, understood as the transformation of society's basic laws through extra-legal means, becomes not just a right, but a duty.
That was Michael Nance of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Something, isn't it? First of all, he's teaching your children at the University of Maryland. So anybody who has a child at the University of Maryland, pull them out of school. If you give your money to support the University of Maryland, get it out of there. The University of Maryland is a public university. This is funded by taxpayer dollars, your money and my money. But the point of all of this is he very clearly tells us exactly what the strategy of the left is. This is what we're watching play out in our country right now. What has the left been doing narrative-wise to our country for the last 15 years? They've been demonizing it. They've been vilifying the United States of America. They've been trying to delegitimize our country through the 1619 Project. It actually started before the 1619 Project. Howard Zinn and his revisionist history trying to castigate Christopher Columbus as an evil slave owner, colonist, imperialist, demonizing white people, making it seem that all of our governmental institutions and our cultural institutions are so tainted by the original sin of racism that you can't separate the country that we are today from the evil of slavery, which you certainly can. Our government was not built on slavery. Slavery existed in spite of the provisions in our governmental documents, even our founding documents, that obviously invalidated the heinous practice of slavery. So what he's saying is, first you have to establish that a country has quote unquote structural injustice. That's what the left's doing. You have to get to a point where the people in the country think that there's no way to reform the country because the political structure, the foundation of the political structure is so corrupted. And then extra legal, this phrase that he uses, extra legal action, that means violence in the streets. That means the violent overthrow of a government. He said it's not just permitted, it is your duty if these things have been established. So what has the left done? They've tried to establish the idea in people's minds that our country has structural injustices that cannot be redeemed, they cannot be reformed, and therefore it not only justifies violence, it necessitates violence.